morning, LinkedIn. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, the world. Coming up on today's show, we have Elaine Atherton. Hold on, Ed.
Here we go. Hi, how are you?
Professional as ever. Good morning, Ed. Are you all right?
You've got to sit still. Your mic's not brilliant. So when you go forwards and backwards, we lose you.
Right.
Are you well?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm very well indeed. I'm excited about today's show, Andy.
Yes. Yeah, plenty going on. And we're excited. We've got Elaine Atherton in the house. Elaine is a superstar, sort of talented sales coach, and she's going to be teaching us all sorts of things today.
Here to learn.
Getting us involved. But anyway, we'll come back to Elaine shortly. So I think first of all, Ed, plenty going on in the club, isn't there?
Plenty going on in the club. We're busy, which is a great thing to be. Loads of new members that I'd like to say hello to.
Okay. Are you ready? Should we do the new member? Let's do the new member.
Well, there's a lot, so here we go.
Okay, get ready.
So I'd like to welcome Charlotte White. Here we go. Who's a virtual assistant. Jay West, who's from Custom Workwear Embroidery. Nick Verstage from First Business Finance. Jared Rush from Sticky Back Graphics. I love that name. Jennifer Moran. We've got Hannah Lilly joined us from Family Property Group. We've got Caroline Knight joining us. We've got Joe Ibrahim joining us. We've got Gareth Hayes joining us. Welcome, Gareth. Gareth is a long-term contact of mine. Sarah Gibbons, who's joined us. Bear with me, Mr. Andrew Hatcher. Mary Gabriel has joined us. Jamie Lee Fox, who's joined us. Karen Ferris, who's joined us. Dave Corbett, who's joined us. And Louise Cartwright, who's also joined us. And that was just the last couple of weeks. So we're busy. Busy getting new members in, which is fantastic. Great to meet you all. Come in, have some one-to-ones, and let's start doing some business together.
Brilliant. Yes. So if anyone's out there watching, which occasionally there are, but you're one of those lucky ones. Hopefully Louise is watching. Hello, Louise. If you're watching, give us a shout out. So if you'd like a shout out, just post your details in the comments or ask a question, and we'll give you a shout out live on LinkedIn or on Facebook and YouTube. If you'd like to come onto the show, you can go onto our weekly podcast page, which is on www.thecobraclub.co.uk. Head to our weekly podcast page, and you too can be on the Gritty Business Show live.
Yes, absolutely. We'd look forward to it. And, you know, I love this show because we get to learn so much about people and about just that little bit more of an in-depth rather than just I do this, but actually putting it into practice and talking through how we actually help businesses. It's great. And the connections that we make here enable us to be able to close so many more deals in our world as well, which is just fab. So the collaboration that goes on in the Cobra Club is immense.
I'd say. Someone mentioned to me the other day, you know, they've been to other networking groups, which is fine, fantastic. We love other networking groups. But he said it felt like more like competition in there. And I said to him, in the Cobra Club, it's all about collaboration. You know, we don't compete, we collaborate. And that's, I think, one of the main differences with the Cobra Club. And it's that kind of culture we've got inside the club.
It's just great. And, you know, it's just so rewarding to work with experts in their fields. It just makes me so much stronger when I'm in front of a client that I can solve pretty well every problem that they have. Cost effectively and with really good people that I know, like, and trust. And that's what you build within the Cobra Club, that sort of know, like, and trust of people and understand.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, no, it's all good, Ed. All good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to introduce our guest for today. And then once I introduce, I'm going to play a VT. When I come back, she'll be in the room. So in the meantime, I would like to introduce Elaine Atherton. She says she helps service-based businesses turn their expertise into sales. She says starting your own business can be overwhelming, scary, and exciting in equal measures.
Yeah.
And when things aren't going as planned, there are always reasons. She helps to find those reasons, and she get the right actions in place to move your business forward. And Elaine also says being stuck and not being able to move forward is not a great place to be. I know, I've been there myself. But once we've got your solution, anything is possible. So coming up in just under a minute, we have the wonderful Elaine Atherton. All right, so we'll see you back in a moment. Good morning.
Hello. I love that music, by the way. I don't know who did that, but yeah, it's amazing.
That wonderful Hannah Matarazzo from Cotton Tour Creative, who does our videos for us. And she's amazing. So yeah, really good. I can't help but jig when it comes to it.
No, I was, and then I realised that some people might be able to see me. So I was like, oh dear.
It's all right. I can only see you once you're live on the show. But, great to have you here today, Elaine. And obviously today we're going to be talking about all the elements that make up a sale. And there's obviously the more goes into it than the final transaction.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's so it's such a big thing, isn't it? You start a business. Generally, a lot of us start a business because we're an expert in our field, and unfortunately, the showstopper is that our expertise alone doesn't guarantee our success. That's quite heartbreaking, isn't it? Because we think, there we are, I'm so good at this, I can help people with this, and actually, that is just a small part of the journey. You have your idea, you have your concept, but actually, it's like minuscule in the rest of the stuff that you've got to do to be able to get that out there. So there is absolutely a lot more to the sale than the final transaction, without doubt. Yeah.
The harsh reality, once you've put all your money in, and whether you premises or or even if you're working at home and you haven't got that income coming in, that all of a sudden you've got to go and sell.
Yeah, and it's the most common thing I hear is I don't want to have to sell, and and I understand that because none of us wants to be on the end of a pushy salesperson, do they? And we've all been on the end of them. Let's be honest, we have. And so the fear for a small business owner of they then have to become that person, which they don't want to do, so that it can drive them the other way. So they almost become very passive and actually don't ask for the sale at all, which obviously from a buyer's point of view is crazy, because you think, actually, I'm quite interested in your product. Could you tell me more? And they want to know more. So that resistance for the seller to give more is actually very counterintuitive on so many levels, really. So what I do is I help people sort of get that right. It's what helped you give people, and let's turn that into a sale. And we're going to do it in a way that is comfortable for you, but also it's going to stretch you out your comfort zone a bit, some of it, without doubt.
It's important to recognise is, I say, it's comfort zones, isn't it? Very easy to sit in the background of your own pitch and not actually pitch the sale. Just really difficult.
I think it's also really interesting that people are, as you say, experts in their field. So the work that they're doing, if they were doing it for a client, they would have planned it and they'd have a process and they'd know exactly what they're doing with the client. When it comes to the sales side of things, they have no process. So people, and the reason, and because they think people are just going to buy because they're passionate about what they do. Producing something and actually having a framework that you work through stops you being that pushy salesman, enables you to be able to listen to the clients and understand from their point of view what they're looking for, and then also enables you to tailor your pitch to the client. And actually,
absolutely.
And the easiest sale in the world is to give somebody what they want. But people don't seem to know how to put that sales process to place. And that's something that you need to work on and need to perfect. Sales is a skill, like marketing is, like what you do is. So it's learning that skill set and then being able to deliver it in a way that fits into your character. The best salespeople in the world aren't pushy at all.
No,
they just give people what they want, and that's fundamentally where you can really help people. I believe is to help them put that process in place.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right, because if we rely on do I feel like making that call today? No, I'm not feeling wonderful, so I'm not going to do it. If we rely on that, we're absolutely stuffed, basically. But if I say to somebody, or if any of us say to somebody in business, we've chatted about something, we book that call in now for our next conversation, and it's in my diary, it's in your diary, and that is going to happen. The worst thing we can say to people is, I'll give you a call in a couple of days. No, it doesn't work like that, because you can very easily ignore it. The other person's not sure when you're going to ring exactly. You've got to be so detailed. But the good thing is, as you say, Ed, is once you've got it, it works like work for you, and the potential buyer is happy because they know exactly what's going to happen next, and that where they are in the process. So
I was using the analogy of a car. You know, if you were a designer of a car,
mm-hmm.
the way it looked on the outside, you'd have a beautiful looking car. If it hasn't got an engine in it, it's never going to go anywhere. So the sales and the marketing side of a business is the engine that drives your business and takes it to wherever you want to go to. So you need to have a plan for that, and you need to have a way of doing it that works for you. Now, some people, like you say, picking up the phone, don't like picking up the phone. So don't make that the main number one driver of the sales that come into your business. Find the things that are right for you, the work that you can do that actually enables you to be able to get in front of clients. And then you can start to be accountable for it. But if every day you're, faced with having to pick the phone up and hate doing it and sweat about it and all the other good, problems, then you're probably never going to be successful. So you need to look at what the fear is about, understand your numbers. I know it's very boring to talk about numbers, but understand what. I had a chat the other day with a lady who does financial services, and I helped to put together a script for cold calling people. Cold calling people who are interested in financial services, so warm calling people, if you like. And she said, absolutely hate doing it. So I gave her a bit of accountability on that. So I said, come back tomorrow and we'll talk about the no's rather than the yeses, because they're the interesting ones. She made 10 calls, and she said, I made 10 calls yesterday and I hated every minute of it. She got one appointment out of that and earned herself £3,000 commission. So, and she says it doesn't work. It's that expectation, understanding what you're doing and understanding the numbers and understanding the process that actually takes the fear away from it and the hatred away from it. And that's where people like you come in so strongly, because you can help me to perfect that process so that it's right for me. The way that I do it, so I don't fear doing it. Actually, I quite like the no's, because the no's give me opportunities to learn and to grow. And sometimes you talk that through with other people who have that little bit more sales experience. To next time that happens, you're able to deal with that objection or deal with that problem like water off a duck's back.
Yeah.
This encyclopedia of knowledge that you gain as you do things. But it's a skill set, and you've got to learn it, and you've got to be accountable to your numbers. And I think that's something else that you do really effectively, is helping. Would you say?
Yeah, I think, you're right to all the above, as you've said. I think when I work with a lot of coaches and people who provide a service, so and that they are sole traders essentially. And their one client can be the difference, between an extra £300 a month to, anything in between. So it's quite a, it's a big thing to get it right, isn't it? And that's quite often the bit that people don't get right, is how do you get that call right so it works for both parties? Because it's, if you're getting 2 or 3 people interested a month, I mean, obviously, how you get your people's another story altogether. But if you get 2 or 3 people who actually reach out to you and think you could be the person for me, you absolutely want to make sure when you're having that call that you get it right. And one of the big things that I focus on is, right, so what looks right from your point of view? Now let's look at your potential buyer's point of view, because I can guarantee they are not the same. And, so when you step into your buyer's world, what are they looking for? Because they might be looking at this, we're looking at the same thing, but we're not looking at it both as the seller. One's buying and one's selling. So what does that buyer, what are they feeling right now? You've got to really understand them. So getting that call is so important. But it's the difference between your business succeeding and not.
Absolutely.
100%.
I guess it's quite hard if you. It depends on your service-based, we're talking about service-based industries here. So there's a lot going on, because sometimes it's a one sale, that could be 300 quid, 500 quid. You're going to make quite a lot of those in a month to make a living. Other obviously services are recurring services, which is probably the holy grail for most service-based industries. And like you say, that first conversation, what would your tips be for that first conversation in terms of how? Explain to us, Elaine, how.
I will indeed. So, So to give an overview of what that call should look like, there's some key things that have to happen in that call, and I mentioned this in the program, but it's you need to know, firstly, you need to understand that person might be really nervous that when they're calling you. You've got this call planned in. They could be a small business owner themselves. I'm probably talking my world now, but they're a small business owner. They feel quite anxious because they're thinking, I think this person might be right for me, they might not. Are they going to be pushy? So all these things are going through their head. So you've got to understand in their world what this call is going to feel like. So, and then it's asking them, why have they reached out to you? Tell me a bit about your business. Why have you reached out to me? And listening, that's the absolute, I can't stress it enough, is listening to the answers. Because what we do as human beings is we jump into solution mode straight away. So what we're doing is, I could help them with that, or I could do this, or I could do that. This is what they want. I've already decided what they want. We shouldn't actually be giving them solutions till we get to point 5. I know. That's true. So point 1 is that, opening the call, the intro, tell me a bit about you and your business. I have to say, I always investigate everybody before I have that call with them anyway. I research them, find out more about them. I want to be informed. Why would I want to have a call with somebody that the person, I don't know anything about them? Because you're putting yourself on the back foot straight away, because you're hanging on to their every word, thinking I need to understand their business. Do that before the call, so that you got an understanding of their business, and then as you go into that call, you're just getting you're picking up some of the things that they say. So that's absolutely is step 1, and then you go into the problem. So tell me, your biggest challenge now. What is it that you are looking for some help and support with? Now, at this stage, you might have 4 services that you can offer. At this stage, you're completely in an open mind as to which service would be right for them, if any, because, we're not going to be right for everybody. So then we get a real understanding of that. And I always say, can I write things down? Are you happy for me to do that? So this is like a really, this is a fact-finding session for me, because I really want to understand whether I'm the right person to help you and understand what it is you're looking for. So then, go through all of that. And then the next bit is repeating back to that person, this is my understanding of the help that you are looking for right now. Is that right? So that, but then that confirms 2 things. 1, you've absolutely listened to what they're saying. And 2, that it gives them the opportunity to actually clarify a little bit more if there's something actually, it's that, not mention that. And then it's getting an understanding of how important is it to them for this thing to be fixed, whatever it is that's holding them back or stopping the business moving forward, whatever it is. So how important is it to you right now to for this thing to happen? And based on that, what would stop you taking action? So there's, obviously I'm doing this very short. There's a lot more to it than that, but it's that the steps to it. And then, of course, we can look to solutions, because the truth is we don't know what the solution is. We should be in a clear mind at the start that we are not automatically going into the solution, because we haven't actually listened to what the problem is yet. And one of the biggest frustrations, and I've done research on this for a potential buyer, is when they're talked at, not listened to, solutions are thrown in too quick, and actually the person's totally distracted and not really got their best interests at heart. Yeah, that was a very long answer, wasn't it? Sorry about that.
Great answer. And just some simple things that just from, when you've been pitching all of your life to people, simple things that anybody can do, that you haven't got to be a genius. I bring a pen and a piece of paper into a presentation, and I write down what they say. So they have a perception that I am actually interested in what they're saying. I am actually writing it down. I am actually listening to the answers. On Zoom, it's a tricky one. So on Zoom, I actually tell people. So I'll go, I've got. Me too. So they understand why you're looking down and why you're writing. But their perception of you is that you are actually taking a vested interest in them. Rather than just sitting there listening glibly and saying something nice at the end. Helps a lot. You're spot on with that. The other thing is, I think, manage your own expectations. So if you're expecting to get a deal out of a 20-minute presentation with someone or a half an hour presentation with someone, probably your expectation is wrong. And that's often where salespeople become pushy. If my expectation is by the end of that presentation to have a good understanding of what that business needs, I'm in a position where I can have a second point with them, then I'm not pushing for a sale. I'm pushing to find out more about you, because that's my expectation of the meeting.
Yeah.
So you have to sort of time it right to ask for the business. It's a timing issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have to be fully prepared, and they need to know that you are, and they need to be with you and almost asking for, great, we know what we want, how much is it, Ed, before I can actually present price and actually take it forwards.
Yeah.
I think the third thing I'd add into what you're saying, which is really, really important, is understanding how people buy.
Yeah.
So if I was talking to a solo entrepreneur, let's say Andrew, now I might think that Andrew can make a decision. It's his business, and of course he can.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the reality is, probably, if it's going to be money being spent, he'll go and talk to his partner, Hannah. He might go and speak to another colleague, etc., before he comes back. Again. So if I understand that that's what he needs to do, I'm not going to ask for his business there and then, because I know he can't give it to me.
Yes,
so
exactly.
I'm going to set up the next meeting or follow on or whatever Andrew wants me to do for him, so that I can actually ask for business. So I think people, if you don't understand what someone's buying process is, and you think that you can help with the customer doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
You know, it's £2,000 an hour to get me to come in to sort you out. Actually, the customer doesn't firstly believe that you've understood them. Their natural reaction is they need to go in and chat because you haven't found out. So in effect, you haven't been a clever salesperson. So don't put yourself in a position whereby you feel nervous about asking for the sale. You should never feel nervous about it, because it should be a logical conclusion.
Yes, I agree. It's it's all good. And the thing is I mean, and just you and I alone, everybody does this slightly differently. And the point is, you've got to find the way that works for you. But there are steps that you absolutely need to have in place, and processes. And that's the point, isn't it? And it's dependent on who you're speaking to, isn't it?
My thing is always having a foil to counter against. So if I do a presentation and I don't get the sale, if you like, Andrew will tell you, I'll go back in and I'll say, God, I did this, I did that, and this is what, and I talk it through every single time, because I want to understand basically what I did wrong in that presentation, because it hasn't resulted in the result that I wanted. So the more you learn about what didn't go right, the more you actually perfect what you're doing, so that it is right. And then once you get a model that sort of works and gives you results, don't change it because of one person. Good point. You can sell to, if you could sell to 95 out of 100 people that you speak to, you're not going to sell to the other 5. So don't change your whole presentation to pitch to the 5 and lose the 95% of people who do buy under that. So you need people like Elaine to coach you through that process, and to help you understand that process, and that takes the stress and the fear and the pain away. And actually, selling is a pleasure. All I'm ever doing is helping people. It's a joyful thing to do.
I think that's the key, Ed. I think the bit, and I can only talk about my own audience, if you like, the people who I surround myself with, or surround me as well. In effect, are they it's try and take away the word sale is what I say to them, because it's how are you helping people? Don't if you constantly got the word sale in your head, for some people it's a complete negative, and it's once you turn it to change that to help. So you're helping people. How are you helping them? That discovery call is called a discovery call for a reason. It's because you're discovering what they need help with, and equally they're discovering about your expertise and how you could potentially help them. So it's not a sales call. So I think that's what we have to keep thinking, is for those people who are so like, no, I don't want to talk sales. It's not, well, don't talk about sales. You just frame that as how you help people, because ultimately that's what brings them joy, and that's where they excel.
100%. And I don't know about you, but I get a lot of business from the people I don't sell to. So what happens is, yes, there is no match between what I can do for you and how I can help you. However, we've had a good relationship. They've understood me. I've understood them.
Yeah.
They have clients. They have colleagues. They have people who actually need help. And they're very happy to refer you into those people, because they've seen that you've behaved in a way that is discovering, that is helpful, that is good, just that you can't help at that moment in time. We surround ourselves with, like you say, a good network. We surround ourselves with a really good network of people. So ultimately, in a presentation, I physically might not be able to benefit from that, but Andrew might be able to, or Elaine might be able to, or anybody else within my golden shield of trusted people that I introduce in. So and the more you do that, actually, the stronger it makes you, and the more successful it makes you as a salesman.
I was going to ask you, Elaine, about obviously, a discovery call is about discovery, and I don't know about my job and other people, in their jobs, where someone's coming to you because they obviously have a problem. In that discovery call, you want to, I suppose, demonstrate your expertise, that you are an expert in the field. And sometimes you give them enough of an answer or enough of a clue about, how you might help them, that they think they go off and do it themselves. What would be your advice around that scenario?
Well, I think it's a really good question, because actually the discovery call is not about providing them with a lot of solutions. It's providing them, telling them about the solution that you could offer to help them. But it's not about it's not like a one-to-one which I've just been a new member in the Cobra Club. I've just had a one-to-one with Caroline at night. Wonderful. And so obviously that's a very different conversation, isn't it? You're just chatting about stuff. I pick up some things from Caroline that I think, oh, that's a great thing. There's sort of little nuggets of information I passed her. So that, that is fantastic. But the thing about the discovery call is not to start giving loads of solutions to their problem. What you can do, of course, or what you should do, and which some people completely need, is that reassurance that you've helped people like them with that problem before. Now, you could give a very top line. Of course, in conversation, you are going to give a top line of, well, this is a solution here. How that works is, this is what that solution is, and this is a package that I offer, or so you're giving some top line in that, but you certainly. Well, one, you wouldn't have the time to give loads of information. And two, at this stage, you're 45 minutes in, it's information overload. Absolutely is.
I'm just more thinking, in my world, obviously do lots of things, but one of the things I've sort of been known for is business advice. So people come to you for advice. We still have to make a living from that trade.
Right,
really difficult sometimes to get through that meeting without actually giving someone a little bit of advice, and that's enough of advice just to give them that. It's the idea, it's that, and I guess it's just something I need to work on, is not to give my ideas out for free.
No, but I think, well, I suppose there's an answer. There's an answer to everything, isn't there, really? But I think for you, in that situation, of people like you, I get it, because as coaches and service-based providers, we are wired to help people, because that's what we do, isn't it? We want to make a difference. We want to help people. We've got a lot of solutions if it's in our field. So we're automatically going to help mode. But I think separating the two, the discovery call is not about that. I think that's, if for people who are using the discovery call to almost showcase their expertise, then that's not right. That's not what it's about, because you've got to bear in mind that person has come to you because they found you, and you've asked them how they found you at the start and who recommended you. So they've already come to you with some knowledge and some insight that you're the person to help them. So it's almost like counterproductive if you start saying firing solutions, then you could potentially lose them. Or, as you say, if depending on the level of top tips you give them, you could lose them because they actually don't need your help.
Me, like lots of other consultants along the way, I've had to learn the hard way. So it's great to hear, that reinforcement message from yourself, of what to do in that situation. It's just about discovery. It's not about providing solutions at all.
No, it's not. It's not. The key is totally in what it's called. It's because, as I say, they have come to you because they feel that you might be the person who can help them. And what your solution, if you like, in that is which service that you provide or perhaps it might be something you decide will be bespoke for them because, you know, their particular needs, but that is the solution for them, because your credibility is already proved. Yeah.
So that, I think that leads us nicely, Elaine, to this week's top tips. So I'm going to ask you, you know, we're obviously talking about service-based solutions today. So if you had to sort of sum up with 3 top tips what service-based businesses need to be clear on, I'm going to play this little link, and then when we come back, we're going to find out the answers. So Elaine, let me ask you the question one more time. What do you think service-based businesses need to be clear on?
Well, okay, the first one absolutely is a showstopper if you're not, is who you're helping, and you know, who is your ideal client and what is it that they're looking for. If you are not clear on that, the worst thing you can hear when when we're networking, somebody say, I can help everybody. It's like, no, you can't. It's that. So you've got to be really clear on the on who you're helping and how you're going to help them. And the next bit is, the second tip is what problems are you solving? So the more you talk about problems through the eyes of the buyer, as I said before, so what problems is it they're facing and what help do they need? What outcomes are they looking for? So it's a really big, chunky topic, that, because people buy with emotion. So if you don't tap into your buyer's needs and understand the pain points that they've got, then when you're talking, and when I say talking, I mean, you know, whatever you're supposed to post on social media or whatever you're putting on your website, if you're not talking in the language of your potential buyer, then they're never going to find you. You know, they're absolutely not. So you've got to be clear on that. And then the third thing is make sure you're in the places where you will find your ideal clients. So don't be hanging out in the places where they're not, because it's absolutely fruitless exercise. So you could be saying all the right things, but if your right audience isn't there around you, then it's absolutely wasted, which quite often when people go to some types of networking, they think this is going to be brilliant. Well, actually, no one in that room needs what you've got. And even more than that, their extended circle is not going to help you either. So why do you keep going to that networking when it's not the right place? So, and of course, the same happens on social media, because some social media platforms are better for your product or service than others. So find the ones that work for you, because you try to do it all, it's just going to be ineffective.
I think that's, you know, there's a lot of ways out there, and it, like you say, it is about finding the right crew, the right place, the right social media channel. It's finding your home out there, really, isn't it?
It is. And I think one thing I'll add to that is there's different services can be on different platforms. So for me, my one-to-one coaching, my clients come from LinkedIn predominantly, whereas my online programs are more effective on Facebook. And so, you know, and yes, you know, I still do what I do, but actually it's where the audience sits. So it's not necessarily going to be the same for every service that you offer.
Definitely.
Yeah, really interesting stuff. And obviously, you know, you'll help anyone from a startup looking to start to sell their service industry or expertise through to a seasoned pros, I guess.
Yeah, I think the bit with me, I love that first part of people's journey, and I equally remember how painful it is. I started my business 6 years ago, and I can seriously remember head in hands moments. And do I still have them occasionally? Yes, I do. And I think the thing with COVID is that it made some people have to. I don't like the word pivot, but people had to pivot, didn't they, and change what they did. So I picked up some people who were in that place. They've been in business, you know, 5 or 6 years, but actually what they once knew and did is not the same. So they've had to, you know, re-look at that. The joy for me is finding out. It's like I see it all as like a chain of events, and the joy for me is finding out which bits of the chain are broken, because every person is not the same.
Yeah.
Well, I am super sleuth. I'll find it for you.
Well, in terms of finding out, we always like to find out a little bit more about our guests on the Gritty Business Show. And, we believe that everyone has got some sort of secret or hidden talent, Elaine.
Oof.
So what I'm going to do, give you 16 seconds to think about the next question.
Oh, love it. Well, I was going to say knitting because it flashed up. I'm really good at knitting, which is I haven't done for years, but started recently. But my real secret talent, which is table tennis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. Who would have thought? I know. Yeah. Well, years ago when I worked in a bank, at lunchtime, they had a table tennis table and we used to play. And I actually won the Northwest Women's Trophy in table tennis. I know. It's
Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought? I know. Yes, and I still love it. I don't play it very often, but really love it.
Brilliant. I love a good game of competitive table tennis.
So much so, years ago we went to Centre Parks with the children, and my husband and I, who he also loves it. The children were sitting there, like, have you finished yet?
When it stays on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really good. I'm really impressed. No, that's awesome. So
you touched earlier, just quickly, Elaine. You touched earlier on the fact that to surround yourself with people who you can benefit from, if you like, and sell to. So you run a room at the Cobra Club.
I do.
Tell us a bit more about that meeting, if you'd be so kind. I'm going to flash up if I can find it. Your screen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, the Make It Happen Hub is it's all about sort of, my ethos really. And what happens in the Make It Happen Hub is we share our wins, because how often do we get to share our wins? We share our wants. So how can we help each other? And what we do, we each week we revisit them. How are we getting on with things? How's it going? Because actually it's quite lonely, isn't it, being a business owner? And to have that support, it's the community. I know the Cobra Club for me is just amazing. I've been in it over a year, and for me it is about the community that is in there that works 100% for me. So if you're not a member, seriously try it out, honestly.
I think that coming out of that, you don't feel alone, do you? You feel like you have a community around you, and I think that's really important as sole traders out there. Let's say find your place, find your home, find that sort of community or people that are going to help you sort of get through what can be really challenging times.
Yeah, and the fact that you can open up to people, I've met some amazing people who I consider, people I 100% would confide in and chat to, and because they genuinely care about you. And I know that sounds very cheesy, doesn't it? But they do. You build the rapport. And
brilliant. And you're going to be. You've set up a new program. And can you let us know a little bit about this new thing you've got coming?
Yes, I've. There's two programs that I have currently, which are both online. And one is 10 Minutes, 10 Days, 10 Actions, which is a work through yourself online program. And it really covers all the sort of 10 fundamental lessons, those 3 included that I mentioned earlier, that are really key to getting a strong business. So for those who are starting up or in their early years or struggling to get that right, then that program is accessible via my website. And then the other one is about perfecting your discovery call. And for me, it's a £97 program. I keep my prices for those programs at the level where startups could easily afford them. For me, that one is worth its weight in gold. Because if you don't get that right, it's soul destroying when you keep having calls with people and think, what am I doing wrong? And once you've perfected it, as Ed said earlier, you find the way that works for you, and you never have to keep revisiting it because it's working. Yeah.
And if somebody wants to meet you and have a chat and find out more about how you can help them, how would they do that?
Well, I'm always on LinkedIn. So if you're on LinkedIn, just message me on LinkedIn and find you there. And of course, you can head to my website, which is flashing up across the bottom, or email me and you can find me there. I'm always on social media, daily at some point I'm dropping into social media. So you can find me there.
Definitely. I just want to add very quickly, we're all small business owners, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We all have networks that we have friends and colleagues in the same position. So if you know somebody who is struggling or not getting what they want or is frustrated with it all, and introduce them to Elaine, introduce them to the Cobra Club, get them in to see Elaine, and let's find out if being an entrepreneur is the right position for them. So sometimes people come into the world and it just isn't right for them, or they need to really sit down and have a proper review of themselves, and to do that with people who actually want to help you is a fantastic opportunity, rather than lose the house and lose everything else trying to do it we're ever going to do. So it's finding out if it's right for you as well, or if you're going down the right direction that's right for you.
Well, it is right. You're absolutely right, Ed, because it's not right for everybody. And actually, it's hard work, isn't it? I know my first year in business, it was amazing, and because obviously people knew who I was, and I came out of a big role, and I got lots of work. And then the second year was a bit of a reshape. Who do I want to work with? So it's a journey, and the journey is always because the landscape's always changing. Your journey's changing with it. You have to be very aware of the landscape around you, and what your potential clients need,
and have a bit of a mirror. Sometimes it really helps just so you can see how other people see you.
Yeah,
actually can help you to change for the better. It's not a neggy thing. It's a real positive thing to do, and it's basically free. So that sort of help and advice just is gold dust, really. You don't get it at school with your careers teacher. You don't get it from anybody else. You don't get honesty from your friends and family, but you do get honesty if you ask for it from people who are your business colleagues, because they can see it, they feel your pain, they understand what you're going through. So. Or understand your success and then help you to make it more successful. It doesn't have to be nasty. It could be really good.
No, exactly. And I only last week I used the services of Logan, because I was email marketing. There was something I was stuck on, and and he helped me, and I was able to give him some business. And equally now he's on my radar for other people who struggle with the same thing that I struggled with. So it's and then it's the know, like, and trust, isn't it?
Logan is it Bassett, the green marketeer.
Yeah, absolutely fabulous.
Great guy.
I know. It's all very exciting, isn't it? But it's only exciting when you're in the right place. I think my advice would be, if you're doing stuff and you're thinking, why am I doing this again, and why am I spending money and it's not working? I think review what it is you're doing, because you just haven't found your right home yet for your tribe. When you find it, you're in the right place.
Yeah,
awesome.
And build your sphere with people who will help you find that, and that's people who actually care and actually want to help you. That's what you deliver, and that's what people get through the Cobra Club. It's fab.
Yeah.
Thank you, Elaine. We're rapidly running out of time. I know Ed's got to dash off at midday today, so we're going to say a bon voyage, and thank you so much for today. Thanks for all that valuable help and advice. Clarity.
Yeah. And, I loved it. Thank you so much for having me here.
Yes,
I loved it.
And you can guest present for us as well, so plenty more stuff in the offing. So before you go, I'm just going to play a message from one of our Cobra Club supporters. So here we go.
Wonderful.
There's a great example of someone who listens, tries to understand where you're coming from, and then uses emotional content, your emotion, if you like, to really boost your business. It's a fantastic.
Shout out there to Hannah and Hannah Matarazzo, Cocktail Creative, and also Elaine, she's been on the show. I want to give a big shout out to Logan, who has been my hero of the week this week for his content creation and his sort of marketing support. Valuable member of the team. I'm not sure, Ed, but we might just have enough time just to ask you this one simple question.
One simple question.
We do need some wise words from Mr. Williamson every week.
my words of wisdom are really simple. Ask for help, because people will give it to you, and when they do, say thank you. It's very, very straightforward. So, I mean, the amount of people that we help and basically give business to. Notice Elaine, she passed on business to Logan once he helped her, and say thank you for it. And people really, really respond to that so well, and they can really help you to do more business. So say thank you. Ask, I need some help, guys. I'm looking for, and say thank you when you get it, because it is gold dust.
Yeah, brilliant.
Literally.
Thanks, Ed. So we are rapidly running out of time, so we're not going to have time for anything else other to say we'll see you next week, folks. It's been great. Thanks to Elaine. Thanks, Ed. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Andy. Over and out.
Now you're watching me. Yeah, all eyes on me. 'Cause I've been living the good life. So come fly with me into my fantasy. And we be loving the good life, good life.
I think this dream now just hit me. Why don't you just go there with me? Surfing the skies and splash in the clouds. Dance in the crowds and laugh out loud. Holding your hand, unfolding a plan. Two souls in a land like gold in a pan. Float in the breeze or soak in the sea. Come go there with me where we both wanna be. Lie on the beach or fly in the streets. I'm trying to keep this vine in the reach. Putting everything I do aside, me and you are first. We can travel to the very end of the universe. You and me are meant to be divine energy. Living with no rules in a pool of serenity. Come be my fantasy, go away with me. Lock us up in a dream and throw away the key. Come on, live this up now. Good life, good laugh, good love now. Come on, live this with me. Good laugh, good love, we live free. Come on, live this up now. Good life, good laugh, good love now. Come on, live this with me. Good laugh, good love, we live free. We need to rise with these new eyes. Pull the disguise off of these blue skies. Lights in the city reflect off the shoreline. When you're living this life, you want more time. Rewind the time, align planets. Ride this comic to a new dynamic. Your eyes on me, mine on you. Living the good life, we do what we want.